Hola chicos, yo no estoy en la escuela hoy porque mi hijo tiene una cita con el doctor hoy. Pues, this Edpuzzle video will lead you through a mini lesson and then walk you through the rest of the tasks for today's class while you have a substitute teacher. Pues, hoy es viernes, el 6 de noviembre. Our learning targets are, I can ask and answer questions. I can discuss everyday activities people do and like. I can use and understand the chapter vocab in context. So, el plan hoy. We'll do a mini lesson about cuántos hay. Corregimos la tarea. Cantamos. A dónde, to, where, cuál, which, cuáles, which ones. Practicamos las palabras interrogativas. Y hacemos una actividad de escuchar. Hay tarea. Una hoja de trabajo, worksheet, para jueves, next jueves, when you're in class next, y la tarea Quizlet es para hoy. Pues, first, our little mini lesson today. ¿Cuántos hay? We haven't gotten into this very much. We know that cuantos means how many. The word I is also a really important word. It's very high frequency in Spanish and in English both. I means there is or there are in Spanish. I. It can also mean are there, is there, if it's a question. Remember in Spanish, if a word starts with the letter H, we don't pronounce it. It's silent, like the word hola. I means there is, there are, or is there, are there? I, por ejemplo, hay un lápiz en la mesa means there is a pencil on the table. Hay dos lápices en la mesa means there are two pencils on the table. I is a verb. So even if I just said hay un lápiz, that's a complete sentence because it has a verb and a subject. Hay un lápiz, there is a pencil. Cuanto and cuanta, like we learned, mean how much. Cuantos, cuantas mean how many. The one we choose depends on if the thing we're asking about is masculine or feminine, is it singular or is it plural. Por ejemplo, ¿cuántos libros hay en la mesa? How many books are there on the table? Libros is masculine plural, so we use cuantos, masculine plural. ¿Cuánta tarea hay en la clase? How much homework is there in the class? Tarea is feminine singular, so we use cuanta, feminine singular. So the word cuanto, cuanta, cuantos, cuantas, matches the noun that you're asking about. How many, how much. Cuanto and cuantos are masculine. Cuanta, cuantas are feminine. So if I'm asking about a masculine singular noun, I would use cuanto, masculine plural, cuantos. Feminine singular, I would use cuanta. Feminine plural, I would use cuantas. They all mean how much or how many. Practicamos. How many folders are there? Do you remember how to say folders? Do you have an image in your head of a carpet made of folders or a folder made out of a carpet square? Carpeta is folder and it's feminine plural, carpetas. So we need to use cuantas. Cuantas carpetas hay? There is one folder. There is the word I. Carpeta is feminine. We're going to use una. Hay una carpeta. Uno carpeta sounds weird. It doesn't match. How many chairs are there? Chairs is sillas. Sillas is feminine plural. So we need to use cuantas sillas. I. There are 4 chairs. Again, we need the word I. There are. I. Cuatro sillas. Bien. Ahora te toca a ti. You'll have a chance to answer all of these questions. Actually count how many are in the class. Por ejemplo, ¿cuántos pupitres hay en la clase? Student desks. ¿Cuántos pupitres hay en la clase? ¿Cuántas chicas hay? ¿Cuántos mapas hay? Count them on the walls. ¿Cuántas profesoras hay? ¿Cuántas ventanas hay? Remember, ventana sounds like vent. Air passes through a vent. Do you remember what ventana means? ¿Cuántos escritorios hay? Un escritorio is where somebody might write, escribir. Continuamos. Once you're done, check your own homework. You'll have access to this Google slideshow, so you can check it at length, make corrections if needed, make sure your name is on your homework, turn it into the substitute teacher. If you didn't get a chance to finish it, and then turn it in, check it, give it to the substitute. Cantamos. Here's a song. Again, you'll have access to this slideshow. You can work through at your own time, at your own pace, I should say. You can work through at your own pace. Sing along, actually sing. Songs are good mnemonic devices and they help us remember things. So do take the time to listen to the whole song and sing along, even if it's really quietly, that's okay. The next thing is, there's some in-class practice about question words. So get this worksheet from the substitute teacher at your own pace, work through it. The instructions are fill in the blanks on each slide with the correct question word from the word bank. Once you're done, check your answers using the answer key on Google Classroom. So here's slide number 1. There's 3 sentences. There's 3 choices. Which one goes in which box? Work through it at your own pace. And then if you still have time left in class, this is an enrichment activity. It's a listening activity. It says, escoger, listen to each question using this audio file and choose the most logical response. So this is enrichment. If you don't have time to do it or you find it too confusing, it's not the end of the world. You can get a little slip of paper like this from the sub, or you can just do your work on the Google slideshow. Click this button to hear the audio.
Forming questions in Spanish.
And you can use this little slider bar, hopefully, to skip ahead. I'm not sure. Maybe
listen to each question and choose the most logical response.
You can listen to it as many times as you want.
¿Por qué necesitas estudiar ahora?
Pause. She said, ¿Por qué necesitas estudiar ahora? ¿Por qué necesitas estudiar ahora? A good strategy when you're doing listening activities like this is to repeat them to yourself after you hear them. And obviously, pause the track using this little button so you don't get overwhelmed by so many at once. ¿Por qué necesitas estudiar ahora? Means, why do you need to study right now? Which answer makes sense? A, porque mañana es la prueba, or B, porque no hay clase mañana. Why do you need to study right now? Well, because tomorrow is the quiz makes more sense. So in your slideshow, you can click and drag these little circles, or the sub will have this on paper, and you can ask the sub for a paper copy. Either way, once you're done, you can check your answers to these 2 activities on this slide. It says, check your answers, click here to see the answer key for the 2 activities you just did. Both this one, which is mandatory, you must do this, check your answers, turn it into the sub with your name on it. And you can check your answers to this listening activity, which is enrichment. It's optional. I encourage you to do it if you have enough time in class, but if you don't get to it, it's okay. So check your answers, turn this one in. This one, if you do it, you can turn it in, but it's optional enrichment if you have time. Don't forget, you do have tarea para hoy. The Quizlet set is due today. If you haven't finished it yet, go to Quizlet and work on that during class time if you have extra time. Also, there is homework due next jueves, the next day you're in class. Make sure you get a copy of this worksheet from the substitute teacher before you leave class today. Feel free to get it and work on it during class if you have time to do that. If you have questions, send me an email. My email is ambere@mystma.org. Adios, chicos. Que pasen un buen fin de semana.